Einen wunderschönen guten Abend. Herzlich willkommen beim Winzertalk von dem Kölner Weinkeller. Heute geht es nach Frankreich. Es geht an die nördliche Rhône. Und da haben wir niemanden geringeren als François Villard, der sich gleich vorstellen wird und ein bisschen über seine Weine, über seine Philosophie und auch über seine Geschichte ein bisschen was erzählen wird. And now I will switch in English that you understand what I'm talking. Do you speak actually any German or you speak English and French?
English.
English, yeah. Okay.
English. I can speak English. My English is not very good, but I can speak English.
But I think it will be perfectly fine. François, first of all, thank you very much that you take your time and we chat a bit about yourself and what are you doing and a little bit about your wines. So first of all, introduce a little bit yourself. So who are you and what are you doing?
Okay. Well, good evening, everybody. My name is François Villard. I'm winemaker in Northern Rhône Valley. My estate is situated in south of Lyon, approximately 40 kilometers in south of Lyon. Northern Rhône is a very small region to compare to the Rhône Valley, and Northern Rhône represents less than 4,000 hectares. 4,000 hectares, and the totality of the Rhône Valley represents 75,000 hectares. So Northern Rhône is very small. Just to explain, so I am based in the on the right bank of the Rhône River. I'm situated near Condrieu, near the village of Condrieu, at Saint-Michel-sur-Rhône, precisely.
Yeah. And I think also you quite got famous for your Condrieu at the beginning, because when I read articles about you, it's always familiar that your first parcel was from Condrieu and you are doing Condrieu in a bit, I would say, different style than maybe other winemakers. Is it true?
I hope. No, I started to explain my company. First, I'm born in Isère department. My parents were grower, but not wine grower, and I born between Vienne and Grenoble, Grenoble in Isère department, and I was cook when I was young, but when I was 20, I had passion for the wine, and when I had passion for the wine, and when I was 25, I decided to change. So I did a sommelier training course, and I visited vineyard. I met winemakers, and I decided to become winemaker. And at this time, it was in 1987. I used to live at Vienne. Vienne was the gate of the Rhône Valley. From the north, and then I did a viticulturist training course in southern Burgundy, in Davaillé, Macon Davaillé, and I bought my first land in 88 in Condrieu, precisely at Saint-Michel-sur-Rhône, near Châteaubriand, and I planted my first vine in 1989, and I made my first wine in 91. 91, and I produced 400 bottles in 91.
Wow.
The name of my first cuvée was Coteau de Poncin, Condrieu, 91.
Coteau de Poncin, Condrieu.
Yes, but I got very good reputation about my very quickly. I got very good reputation about my white wine. But I produced my first production was white wine, only white wine.
Yeah. So how big was the land when you just produced 400 bottles? Was it half an hectare or?
No. I remember I bought a very small parcel of all vines.
Okay.
And I remember I produced my first wine with very young vines, and the rest come from the old vines.
From the older wines. So through the years, over the years, you got bigger and bigger, and you got much more appellations, and now How many hectares do you vinify?
Now we grow a little bit more than 40 hectares, precisely 43 hectares vineyard, but we purchase grape too. We purchase grape too. Actually, I own vineyard in Condrieu. I own very small vineyard in Côte-Rôtie. My biggest production in Red Saint-Joseph, but I grow White Saint-Joseph too.
Yeah.
I bought vineyard in Saint-Péret more than 15 years ago in Saint-Péret, and I planted a lot of IGP. In the past, we call it Vin de Pays. Now it's IGP, Indication Géographique Protégée. And I purchased grape in Crozes-Hermitage because I don't own any vineyard in Crozes-Hermitage. And I purchased grape completely in Cornas too. In Cornas.
It's very interesting that this business of purchasing grapes and doing just the wine, I would like to say it, is in Germany, I would say, always combined with lower quality wines. Very rare, really, the high quality producers say, yeah, I also buy wines or grapes from really top sites and doing really powerful or really high quality wines from that. Mostly they're all taken in the entry levels. But when tasting, for example, your Crozes-Hermitage, and I can really recommend everyone tasting this Crozes-Hermitage because it's really one of my personal favorites, because I think it's retail price below 20 or something, about 18 or something like that, I think it is. And it's a wonderful Syrah, and it's really, for me, for that price quality level, it's very rare to find something like. So congrats on that one. But in France, it is this method or this business is actually quite common, because in Burgundy you see it a lot.
The problem with I became negotiant 20 years ago because the price of the lands was becoming very expensive in Côte-Rôtie, so I became negotiant to purchase grape in Côte-Rôtie. Mainly at the beginning, it was only to purchase grape in Côte-Rôtie, but with the time, I purchase grape in White Saint-Joseph, little in White Saint-Joseph, each appellation I need, and the market is the same in Burgundy now. Because if you want to produce, if you are a producer in Côte de Nuit, if you want to produce Chambertin, it's very difficult to buy land, to buy land, difficult and expensive. So it's easier to buy grapes, and the region is very small, so I know all my provider. I have a good connection, good contact with my provider. So it's not very difficult about that. Yeah. Anyway, a lot of winemaker became negotiant too. There are the market about the grape is not big, but the market is.
Yeah,
present.
Good. So, but the vineyards of Saint-Péret you own by yourself?
Yes.
Good.
I own 2.5 hectares in Saint-Péret. 2.5 hectares in Saint-Péret. I produce 2 cuvées in Saint-Péret. My regular cuvée is called Version. Version is a blend with around 65% Marsanne and 35% Roussanne, and my second cuvée is version longue.
It's your better. It's better from
and version longue come from with 100% Marsanne, 100% Marsanne, and version longue come from my own vineyard, completely my own vineyard.
So then I think I will pour the wine, and I would say let's discuss a little bit about the wine. So I think for many German people, Marsanne is not really known. So because and I think outside of the Rhône Valley, it's not really grown. Maybe there are some wines in Australia and some wines in US because they're also planting things. But I think Marsanne is really an autonomous grape of the Rhône Valley.
It's funny because I went to California, and in California, Roussanne is more popular compared to Marsanne. And all around the world, Roussanne is more popular. But I prefer, honestly, I prefer Marsanne because with the time, Marsanne, for me, Marsanne is better. Marsanne give wine with better potential to age. And the grape produce Marsanne produce berry which seem very simple.
Yeah.
When you test the berry of Marsanne, Marsanne is like chasselas. It's very easy to eat.
Quite neutral.
Marsanne seems very simple, not complex. But the wine, after 3 years aging, is able to produce very complex wine.
Yeah. And it's as you said, the same thing with Chasselas. Chasselas at the beginning is really neutral, but when it gets aged, it's turning into a very. It can be intense. Really.
Marsanne wine can be aromatic, but not very complex at the beginning. Because the skin of the berry are very thin, not tannic. It's not aromatic to compare to Roussanne or Viognier, because I produce Marsanne, Roussanne, and Viognier. Marsanne, the skin of the Marsanne is very thin and not tannic.
Yeah. So on the label it stands Veraison Longue. Veraison means ripeness. So it's kind of Spätlese, so late harvest, or how do you? Or what's the philosophy behind Veraison Longue?
I try to pick ripe. When I started to make wine at the beginning of the 90s, I often pick very overripe. With my Condrieu, I pick often with little noble botrytis. But with the global warming, we are obliged to pick a little bit earlier. But 19 was a warm vintage, but not very early vintage. So it was a good vintage. It was good vintage. The problem with the white wine of the Northern Rhône, sometimes we pick with a very high level of sugar. But 19 was okay. We pick with a normal level. I produce wine. Version Longue is 13.5 alcohol. Possibly 13.7, but it's around 13.5. So it's okay. And Saint-Péray is very interesting. Saint-Péray produce only white wine. We have two possibilities about the grape, because we can make the wine with Marsanne, Roussanne. We can blend both or produce it separately. This wine is completely Marsanne. But Saint-Péray was known at the beginning of the 20th century, was known because Saint-Péray produced only sparkling wine. Only sparkling wine. And Saint-Péray produced only sparkling wine because Saint-Péray produced wine with good freshness. And and Saint-Péray is interesting.
So let's talk about this wine, because the thing is why, but I would say the question is, why is this suitable for white wine? And it's super interesting about Saint-Péray. I think it's the most southern appellation of the Northern Valley, so it's really on the edge to the southern Rhône, not on the edge, but I would say closest. And when you are, so that's, I also took a bigger glass, a slightly bigger glass, my Syrah glass, because I really like if this wine gets a little bit more air and gets the chance to breathe and really to open up, because that's why I'm swirling and always sniffing and smelling how it's changing At the beginning, it was really, I would say, pungent for me. It was quite yellow fruited, white flowers, very floral, hidden spices behind that, kind of white pepper. And now it's getting more and more and more elegant. It's very, very interesting how this wines really develops. And I mean, I've tasted several wines from you, and we talked it it about before the interview. Your philosophy of wine is that the wines are easy to drink, I think, or not easy to drink, are I would say you are really likely to drink a lot of them because they're so really easy drinking. That's called, but they are not easy. They are easy drinking, but with great complexity.
About this one, I said about the grape is 100% Marsanne, and this wine fermented and aged in Burgundy barrel with natural yeast. We don't use selected yeast, and we control temperature during the fermenting, and the wine. The name is version longue because we bottle it after 18 months. And the one stay on the lease 16 months.
Okay, yeah.
The racking, the only racking is the blending at the end of January, and we bottle it in March 2021.
So this long lease, the longer time on the lease gives this kind of creaminess due to the lease stirring, or do you also steer the lease so that it's getting a little bit, so doing a little bit of batonnage, or you just
we did batonnage for 6 months.
Yeah.
For 6 months we stop it to do batonnage in March.
Yeah.
In March, and the second winter we did a few batonnage.
Yeah.
But we keep the wine on the lees to keep the freshness.
Yeah.
To keep the freshness and to get a better integration about the oak.
Yeah. Yeah. I think and correct me if I'm wrong. I would not pour this when it's hot on the terrace just to have a glass of white wine. I think this is really more. This is a perfect wine for food and wine pairings because you have on the palate beautiful structured. It's very mouth-watering. You have this phenolic, slightly bitterness, which really enhance complexity. Overall, it's fruity, but you have this creamy texture with it. So there are lots of things going on with a really high impact of minerality. And for me, this is perfect when you're thinking about fish dishes in general. I would say with some how's it called, fennel, some grilled pike perch or in grilled how's it called, sea bass. Something like that, or when you have roasting aromas and then you do the combination. I think this is the perfect wine for it.
The white wine of the Northern Rhône are very interesting to match because sometimes people think Northern Rhône produce wine with not fresh wine.
Yeah.
And we don't produce wine with high level of acidity. But about my Saint-Péray, the pH is quite low. The pH is around 3.4. 3.4, so it's low. It's a low pH for the Northern Rhône.
Yeah.
But Saint-Péray is very interesting with the warm vintage.
Yeah, that's I think a very kind of misunderstanding about the northern the Rhône white. I would say now call it the Rhône white, because everyone thinks that from this region there comes such powerful red wines. The white wines must be bold, must be over concentrated. And then when you're tasting this Saint-Péray, when you're tasting something like, I don't know, Gros Hermitage Blanc or Saint Joseph Blanc or Hermitage Blanc or even Condrieu, because Viognier is maybe a little bit more difficult to get it quite fresh, I would say. But but in general, the wines are wonderfully, I would say, minerality fresh. They're not coming through acidity. They're coming through overall this perception of salinity, the saltiness with it, which gives this impression of freshness as well. So I was a big fan, and when I worked when I worked in the restaurant business, I tended to use often those wines, because on the one hand side, the people do not really know about them, and on the other hand side, they are perfect for food and wine pairing, because they are, I would say, they are pleasing the dish, because you can use them in so many different ways. Yeah.
And the soil is granite.
Yeah.
The soil is completely granite. As granite is very important. You say about the minerals, but granite is perfect to bring minerals. Granite is very important to about the salinity at the end of the mouth, about the freshness at the beginning of the mouth. I repeat, but we produce wine with not very low level of acidity, but not very high level of acidity. But the granite, when you test wine from granite, you seem the wine will have better acidity.
Yeah.
Because granite bring freshness.
Yeah. And you said when this wine ages a little bit, so for how long could you age this wine on your perspective?
I think with this cuvée of Saint-Péret with version longue, possibly the wine can age 15 years.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
And after well, it's still young, 2019, but in 5 more years, the wine will smell possibly little petrol. It's with my white Saint-Joseph, with my Saint-Péret, after 10 years, the wine smell not Riesling, not like Riesling. I can compare with Riesling, but the wine can smell petrol.
Yeah, this kind of spiciness, flinty stones, so then they're coming out. Yeah, it's and when you're tasting those aged white Rhônes, they are getting, I would say, kind of those from the northern Rhône, those kind of spiciness. So I think we're now switching, because I would really like to also had one of your conduits, but there are two problems. On the one hand, they are very limited in quantity, and on the other hand, they are quite expensive, as conduit is. But I think before we switch to the reds, let's talk a few minutes about Condrieu, because I think this is really, so everyone who's watching or will watch this video, if you did not already have, please try one of François' Condrieu, because they are completely different than what some people so I would say they are completely different in a modern way, which I personally was really astonished when I first tasted one. And so let's talk about Condrieu. Condrieu, the grape is Viognier. When compared to Marsan Roussan, how is Viognier different?
Viognier grape is very aromatic to compare, but Viognier grape in Condrieu is able to produce wine with a very high level of minerals. Yeah. So I think Condrieu is interesting with because Condrieu produce wine with a lot of minerals, and minerals for me is the best freshness for the wine. Yeah. The minerals is more important to compare to the acidity. If we have both, it's perfect. If you take Burgundy white, or Riesling for good, or German Riesling, you will have both. In Condrieu, we produce wine with low level of acidity, but we are able to produce wine with high level of minerals. So normally Condrieu is made to be drunk young, but with high level of minerals, you can age it without any problem. In Condrieu, we have a paradox. Châteaubriand is included in Condrieu. Châteaubriand is my neighbor near de Poncin. And Condrieu had very high reputation, but very good wine, but good to be drunk young.
Yeah.
And Chateaubriand had very high reputation, but very hard reputation with a very good potential to age. And Chateaubriand is included in Condrieu. Chateaubriand is a vineyard included in Condrieu with its own appellation. Yeah. But it comes from the same grape, Viognier. It comes from approximately the same terroir. It comes from the same climate. But Chateaubriand comes from a place which is able to produce wine with high level of minerals. Yeah. So to age, the wine needs minerals. Yeah. So Condrieu can be very interesting with it's not only Viognier. It's not only Viognier. Yeah. Viognier is aromatic, but Condrieu soils give a lot of minerals.
Mm. What I always had problems with many Condrieux is that they are over oaked. You have such an intense grape variety, and then they're using some producers really much oak. And then in combination, you really get an quite heavy, really extraordinary and powerful wine. And when I tasted your wines, I did not really have this idea, because I thought more about a slightly aromatic Burgundy, because it was very elegant. And you had this kind of creaminess, this kind of oily texture from the Viognier, and with all the spices, but it was not overpowering what often I think an overripe Viognier or overripe Condrieu would offer. And even from the very famous producers, I like to drink them, as you mentioned, younger than older, because when they're getting older, they're getting too much of everything. And that's why I was really astonished when I tasted first your Condrieux, because of the style you are making. Because I think there is no other one, or at least maybe there are a few other ones, but they are also quite hard to get. Because how big is the overall appellation in general?
The size of the appellation?
Yeah, Condrieu.
Condrieu is a little bit more than 200 hectares, possibly 220. The total size is 270. But a small part is planted in Saint-Joseph, because we have the possibility to if we plant Syrah, we produce Saint-Joseph. If we plant Viognier, we produce Condrieu. So but the appellation is almost completely planted now. Yeah. But the size is very small.
It's very small.
Condrieu is one of the smallest appellation in Northern Rhône.
Yeah. I think even when you take 200 hectares, that's in general very small. It's not only Northern Rhône, it's very small. Yeah. So you just named it. If you're producing in Condrieu, Syrah, you have to name it Saint-Joseph, and I think this should be our next wine, the Saint-Joseph from Mairlan. What's the pronunciation? I'm very sorry for my French.
Merlan. When I call it Merlan because I planted my first vine in Red Saint-Joseph in 1990 in Limony village. Limony is situated Limony is the first village in Ardèche from the north on the right bank. And I planted my first Red Saint-Joseph in Limony at Merlan Lieu-dit.
Okay.
At Merlan Lieu-dit, but the spelling I changed the spelling because in France Merlan is a fish. Merlan is a fish, and I changed the spelling. I changed the spelling because I didn't want to call my one with the name of fish.
The name of fish, okay. So 100% Syrah.
100% Syrah, 100% Old Bunch.
Yeah.
I don't use. I have a distemmer in my estate, but I don't use it often.
You don't use it. Very good. Yeah, but did you? So you okay. Let's do the question this way. The thing about whole bunch is actually quite recent, I think. So I would say 10 years, people, or since 10 years, people are trying to get more fresher wines. And did you also change your style, or would you say that you are since 2000 completely the same style?
I think 1 century ago, the disclaimer didn't exist.
Okay.
The disclaimer didn't exist. So all the wine are made with 100% whole bunch, except possibly a small part of Bordeaux, a small part of Burgundy, a small part of Vin de Loire, maybe. I don't know, but in Northern Rhône, all the winemakers made their wine with 100% whole bunch.
Okay.
So I am not modern in using 100% stems. No, I think it's very traditional.
Yeah, yeah. Is there a reason why it's so common to do whole bunch in the Northern Rhone? So
no, I'm not sure a lot of winemaker made their wine with 100% whole bunch.
Okay.
I can. There are in each appellation there are few winemakers who use a lot of stems, but it's very strange because possibly all the winemakers who use a lot of stems are possibly one of the best in their appellation.
Yeah.
But no, there are no lot of winemaker with who use a lot of stems. It's mostly the stems.
Yeah. Okay.
But if you make your wine with 100% whole bunch, you have to sing 100% whole bunch. So you have to stop completely to do punch down. You have to sing fruit before to sing extraction.
Yeah, it's super interesting because I mean, we have the same vintage, also 19. You said it was a warm vintage, but with a long growing season. And when I smell the wine, it's a really typical Syrah. So you have this kind of red fruits, black fruits. You have this kind of olive, spicy, smoky, savory sensation. But I say it seems not that over extracted, and this is super interesting because from the nose, from the expression of fruit and all the aromas, you would expect a much more powerful wine when you imagine Syrah in general, because as many other grapes, Syrah can be from very light to like the Australian Shiraz style, which is really black in everything and powerful, overpowered in everything. But here you really sense much more elegance, even in the nose.
With the stems, there are few possibilities. When I talk with the other winemakers, sometimes the other winemakers tell me stems are very important to produce wine for long aging.
Yeah.
But the Beaujolais Nouveau is made with 100% whole bunch.
Yeah, but
so we have if you do extraction, you will make wine with a lot of tannin. So it's not very interesting if you want to do punch down. It's not very interesting to use a lot of stems.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to use a lot of stems, you have to reduce the extraction. So stop completely to do punch down.
Mm. I mean, this wine is very young, and you really feel the astringency of the tannins. You really feel, for me, the stems, this little bit of wood tannin. A little bit. It's very well structured, but on the same time, you have this brilliant acidity. which really lifts up the wine, gives it freshness, and overall with the aromas, with the fruit, it's really, really long, and it's perfect for me. It's a perfect example of a powerful but elegant wine, because you have everything what you want. You have spicy, you have fruit, you have acidity, you have astringency. The tannins are really, really dominant, but from a high quality. So for me, this is a really, really fantastic wine for even drinking now. But of course,
thank you.
In 5, 6, 7 years, it will be fantastic even more. So
yes, I think the wine will be good in 10 more years. But
yeah.
But, no,
but
about my style, about my size. Often I say my dream will be to produce wine made for long aging, but very easy to be drunk, young. But I think we produce wine with only one grape, Syrah, and Northern Rhône is situated in the middle between Beaune, Burgundy, and Châteauneuf-du-Pape. Châteauneuf-du-Pape is situated 200 kilometers in south, and Beaune 200 kilometers in north.
It's super interesting.
And I look at the north.
Yeah, it's super interesting. I've been there twice, Northern Rhône and then Southern Rhône, and we landed in Lyon, and then took a car and drove down. And it's super interesting when you come through the Rhône Valley, so really the narrow valley, and then when you're going farther south, passing Tain-Hermitage, it really opens up.
Yes,
and then
yes,
you really, when you are sitting on Hermitage, on La Chapelle, there you can sit, and then you watch direction south. You really see the dimension of the Rhône Valley, how vast it's getting, and therefore you are losing also this effects from the tunneling effect from the wind, and so it's getting, I would say, much warmer, much more. The wines are getting more powerful, more fruit, more structure, more everything, and they're losing this kind of sharpness, which for me the Northern Rhône always have. It's very I mean, when you're standing there and you know some basic things about wine, you know why the wine tastes like they're tasting due to climate. It's very impressive, and you can go very nice for lunch and dinner in the Rhône Valley as well, and it's lovely there. I really can recommend that. So I think we should go to a little bit more south, to Cornas, other vintage, 2020, and Jouvet, is it called?
Yes, Jouvet is the name of the lieu-dit. Jouvet.
Is it actually quite common to print the lieu-dits on the labels in Northern Rhône? So this,
yes, we have the right, but we are obliged to produce wine from the lieu-dit. But no, it's authorized to put the lieu-dit.
Yeah. So when it comes now from Saint-Joseph down to Cornas, what changes in terms of climate, in terms of soil, or in terms of typicity?
Cornas, in average, Cornas is warmer. The climate in Cornas is the beginning of the south. Yeah. Cornas is very, it's different to compare to Saint-Joseph. So if you take my Saint-Joseph comes from the north of the Saint-Joseph appellation, because Saint-Joseph is a long appellation, 55 kilometers long, and my Saint-Joseph comes from the north. So if you were speaking about my Syrah, and the Syrah from the Saint-Joseph, from the north of the Saint-Joseph appellation, will smell more pepper, and from the south, the Syrah will smell more olive, laurel. It smells more south. And Cornas is situated just in south of Saint-Joseph. So Cornas produce wine with more meridional style.
Yeah. In Germany, or I would say when I learned to when I studied for my sommelier exam, It's Cornas nickname is often, or at least it is written in the books, it's called Hunter's wine. So in German, Jägerwein, because it's a wonderful combination with deer or any game or something like that, because you have this kind of, sometimes you have this kind of spiciness, animals, a little bit more this burnt sensation of burnt herbs. It's a little bit more, I do not like to call it rustic, because rustic seems it seems quite bad, but it's more, I would say, more, a little bit more edgy, and it's not that elegant, like, as you said, the Saint Joseph or the Hermitage or something like that. It's a little bit more, yeah, I would say more powerful, more structured, and a little bit more, yeah, something like this.
Perfect for winter.
Perfect for winter. Yeah. I mean that the winters can be quite hard, I think, in the northern Rhone because of the wind. There, you have such a strong wind in the winter, or?
No, it depends.
Okay. I always heard that I think it's the Mistral it's quite
Mistral start. Mistral is more in south.
Okay.
Mistral is the wind from the north, but starting Montélimar. In northern Rhône, in northern Rhône, we call this wind la bise.
La bise. Okay.
La bise. Okay. La bise is a wind from the north.
Okay.
But we have less wind to compare to the south.
Okay. I didn't know
that. The northern Rhône is windy. But less windy to compare to the south.
Okay. I definitely know what you're saying. It's getting a little bit more powerful, more powerful, more structured, more, I would say, really, really this really more concentrated when you compare it to Saint Joseph. And yeah, it's I would say this wine definitely needs some more time to really show all his different layers. Now it's in 2020, really intense and of course structured, and something I would say where for the winter season, and something to really match for food, because this is really powerful. But it's not that it seems like some Australian Shiraz. You still have this kind of I would say minerality impact. You still have this structured tannins. It's not that round, but it's very, very powerful and concentrated. But on the same time, it's not overpowered and over extracted. It's very interesting that both wines are from the same grape, but taste so completely different. It's very, very interesting to taste that.
The vinification is the same. 100% all bunch. 100% all bunch. The difference is my Cornas is fermented in oak tank.
Yeah.
Cornas fermented in oak tank and aged in neutral Burgundy barrel, but it was the same about my red Saint Joseph Merlot. Merlot fermented in stainless steel tank, but aged in neutral Burgundy barrel.
Wow.
But not this time. 100% all bunch too.
I have to say, today I'm really more on the Cornas side, because I really like this intensity and this all this floral aromas which are coming through with the powerness, with the fruitness, with this cacao, and then with this coffee. So it's really, there's much going on, but it's not getting powerful. So really, really broad and really creamy, and all this kind of it really stays straight. It's very, very well made.
In average, we have more sulfur tannin with Cornas.
Yeah.
About my Cornas is in average very tannic with sulfur tannin to compare to Merlot.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very interesting when I so now we tasted 3 of your wines, and they are completely gorgeous and are completely, I would say, a different style what you could find from other producers in the Rhône Valley, and still I would say you are in Germany at least one of the hidden gems. So people who know about wine know you. But in general, you're flying under the radar. I think here in Germany. I think in France it's a little bit different, because when I talk to some wine people in Bordeaux, where I went yesterday, where I was yesterday, and I told them that I have today an interview with you, and they say, with François Villard, very nice Condrieu, very nice Syrah. So there you were quite famous, or I would say famous for in the wine scene. But in Germany, I would say only the people who are really into wines know your name, and I think that's, on the one hand, it's good for us, because there's still, I would say, potential for us to promote your wines even more, because they're definitely worth discovering. So, François, a very thank you for your time, to explain a little bit about yourself, about what are you doing, and your ideas about your wines. And next time, hopefully, we will see us in the Rhône Valley.
Okay,
because
perfect.
I definitely have to go there again, because I can really recommend to go there. It's wonderful being there. Very beautiful scenery. And I would say thank you very much, and see you next time.
See you next time.
See you next time.
Thank you.
François, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Und für alle, die noch ein bisschen sich auf den nächsten Winzertalk schon mal freuen dürfen, am 16. Mai geht es in die Provence. Wir sprechen mit Château Valentin. Und da wird es dann nicht mehr rot, sondern weiß und rosé. Aber ich glaube, das passt dann auch besser in die Jahreszeit. In diesem Sinne, vielen Dank fürs Zusehen, Zuhören. Und ich wünsche Ihnen alle noch einen schönen Abend. Vielen Dank. Tschüss. Cheers.